Well, welcome. How about this praise band from the bridge? Well, tonight, I'm really looking forward to our guest speaker. We've been waiting with anticipation of his coming, and I just, we have different speakers and we get ready at different times. But this tonight, guys, I've just had a sense from the Holy Spirit. Tonight is going to be a nugget that's going to settle us and to take us into this next year as we start a men's ministry. Amen? Amen. So I'm just going to encourage you. There's something that's going to be said tonight that's going to be very, very important, I think, to every person in the room. So I'm just going to challenge you to be attentive, be listening, and think about that one thing that Chuck is going to bring to us tonight. I want to have Chuck come on up. Chuck has got so much great stuff. He was an Army Ranger, helicopter pilot, correspondent, and also an author, a writer. Also, he was sharing with me he's on his next new book that's going to be coming out in a matter of time. So with that, let's give Chuck Holton a good old Iowa round of applause.
Thank you. What a great chance to come here. I'm gonna put that over there. Wow, they put a lot of water here for me. I guess they don't want me to talk very long. I have to run out to the bathroom. The other choice I had tonight was Venezuela. So I'm really glad to be in Iowa. Really glad to be here. They're eating each other in Venezuela right now. As a matter of fact, I was there, I don't know, a month ago or so, and right on the border with Colombia. It's really, really bad, that socialist utopia they've created. It's Caracas, the capital city of Venezuela, has more murders last year in a city of about 3 million people than the whole of the European Union, 550 million people. This is one of the most dangerous cities on the planet. So I'm really glad to come to Pella, Iowa. And I've never been to Pella, Iowa, but I drove around and what a beautiful little city you have here. I mean, it's just kind of the quintessential small town, isn't it? The nice little neighborhoods where kids ride their bikes all over town. I didn't see a lot of kids riding their bikes all over town. I suppose they're busy. They have all these new PlayStations, gadgets and stuff that come out every year. And man, the graphics just keep getting better. And the grass is greener and the sky is bluer. And I often think, we did have something like that when I was a kid. It was called playing outside. But the average young man today spends a grand total of about 8 hours daily engaged in some sort of media consumption. Think about that. That's more time than he spends eating. That's probably about as much time as he spends sleeping. It's more time than he spends at school often. Often those things are concurrent, they're on their phones and stuff while they're at school. But the point is, it's passive activity. And I think, there are so many options for us today when it comes to consuming media. I don't know about you, some of you older guys have probably seen this, and it's probably made you feel the same way it makes me feel. You go out to a nice dinner, you take your family out, and you look over and the family next to you's got some kids over there, and nice dinner, nice ambiance, beautiful evening, and you look over and those kids are over there like this. Or you go over to a friend's house and you go to visit, and you sit down with their family, and their adult son. Now I'm saying, if their son's 14 or older, I consider him to be an adult. Jesus was considered to be an adult after the age of 12. Their adult son is sitting over there, rather than engaging with the men of the family, talking about the issues of the day, listening, learning from the older men. The men are over there talking, and he's over there like this. Oh, just make, I mean, you want to, okay, I won't talk too much about that, but that gets me going. That suffice it to say, there's so much opportunity for men to engage in that kind of thing. And it's not all bad, right? I suppose if you want a career as a drum jockey or something like that, maybe, that's a good thing, play some of those video games. Or, anymore, if you're going to be a farmer, you might need to know how to play some video games. Drive your tractor around out there without even leaving the house, right? Those things are amazing. But I think it's raising a generation of men. I speak to churches and school groups and stuff all over the country. And one of the things that I'm noticing more and more is when you go talk to a young man today, let's say a senior in high school, there's something different than the men that I normally engage with. It's like they spend so much time interacting with machines that they've never really learned how to interact with people. So you try to talk to them and it's like, yeah. I mean, they can't look you in the eye. They can't form complete sentences. They can't go 15 seconds without looking at their phone. And this is a problem. So I want to talk about this a little bit. I think it just all boils down to this. How much time do you have left on this planet? Think about that for a minute. How much time do you have left on this planet? The Bible says you're just here for, that's it. Statistically, in the United States, if you're a male, you stand to live 76 years. 76 years. How many, anybody here over 76 years old? Oh man, you're in trouble. Right? Yeah, they're over there going, now listen. I was going to tell you, so just figure out how much time between your age and 76. How much time is that? Figure that out in your head. If you need a calculator, pull your phone out and figure it out. If you're over 76, you already beat the odds. Good for you. Fantastic. If you're Dutch, I found out you got good genes and you actually get a few more years. The Dutch actually live to an average age of 79. So good on you if you're Dutch. But you never know what's going to happen. I mean, all of us know somebody who passed away before their time. So if you're like me, I'm 47, okay? So let's see here, 76, I'm not Dutch. Darn. So let's see, I'm not very good at math either. 76 minus 47 means 29 years. That's what I got. I just realized something. 2 years ago, my wife, this is what happens when you travel too much. I went away on a trip, I came home, we had 2 monkeys. Yeah, monkeys, like real monkeys. They're about this tall, and they will rip your face off. Anyway. Monkeys live to be 45 years old. They're going to be dancing on my casket. It's like having, we have 2 little monkeys, it's like having a couple of really athletic, retarded 2-year-olds in your house for the rest of your life. Anyway, since I've got 29 years left, statistically, but we all know that things happen. And they say you get a few more years, that you live longer if you're married. I don't really believe that. I just think it seems that way. I don't know. But so I'm going to knock off a good, as far as expectations go, I don't know, let's call that 15 years. Because, I go to a lot of dangerous places, and a lot of the guys I hang around with say, if you hang around the barbershop long enough, sooner or later you're going to get a haircut. Now, I'm a very cautious person, but I'm going to say 15 years. How many years do you have? What's your number? Somebody give me your number. What's your number? 25? Young man. 12. 16, 12. So let's say you've got however many years you have left.
About 7 years past.
He's 7 years past it. Good for, you know, I talked to this old guy one time. He was telling me he got on an airplane. Now, I think he was telling me a joke. But he was an older guy. He said he got on an airplane, he sat down next to this little boy. And the little boy looked up at him and said, "How old are you?" And he said, "Well, son, I'll have you know I'm 92. And the little boy looked at him a little bit longer, thought, and he said, "I don't think I ever want to live to be 92. And the old guy said, "That's because you've never been 91. So, whatever your number is, now I want to ask you this question. What do you hope to accomplish between now and that day when they pat you in the face with the shovel? What do you hope to accomplish? What do you want to be remembered for? The Bible, you know, was it King David that says, told the Lord, just remind me of the brevity of my days. It's good to think about this once in a while. What do you hope to be remembered for? When people show up for your funeral, do you really hope that they're going to say, "Boy, he was great at Call of Duty. He was really good at Black Ops 2. What do you want to be remembered for? Because you've only got. That's it. Now, every one of us is in the battle, right? I mean, we all have our battles. One of the biggest privileges that I have is spending a lot of time. I'm a war correspondent, so I go to all the worst places in the world. You know, Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, Lebanon, Syria, Detroit. You know, all the really bad places, right? They need to have a war in Aruba sometime. They never have wars in nice places. I never get to go to the really nice places. But one of the things I do get to do is spend a lot of time with warriors. I get to spend a lot of time with our men and women in uniform. And I'm not talking about the euphemistic warriors, you know, every warrior, you've heard that. I'm talking about the warriors. I mean, the guys whose job it is to go find bad guys and shoot them in the face. Warriors. And one of the things I've noticed, and as I said, I've been doing this since 2003, spend a lot of time with these guys. I mean, a lot of special operations units, a lot of the guys that are really in the fight, the actual trigger pullers. One of the things I've noticed is that the higher you go in that hierarchy, the closer you get to that bleeding edge, the more philosophical those guys get. See, they spend so much time facing their mortality on a daily basis, going out and kicking in the door, and every time they do it, it could be the last time. They spend so much time facing their own mortality that it makes them pretty philosophical. It's going to have to be. And I've realized that they have a lot to teach me. I'll just give you one example. I have a friend who was a Delta Force operator for about, more than 10 years. And he's probably one of the most combat-hardened veterans you could ever hope to meet that's alive today. I mean, these guys have spent more time, literally more time in combat than the guys did in World War II. Because they've just been back over and over and over and over again for 16, 17 years. 15 years, I guess. One of his deployments, he was telling me about, we were sitting down after he got back, and he had been wounded. He had his whole scalp ripped off in an accident. And he had gone out, got surgery, got it all stitched back up, looked like Frankenstein. And 3 weeks later, he's still black and blue and purple and green. They sent him right back. And he looked so ugly that they actually put him in the front of the stack going in the door to grab the bad guys, because he would go through that door. He's about 6'4", a really, really big guy, but he just was so ugly that he would go through the door, and the bad guy would just wet himself, just not even move. He just, but he did 114 missions in 90 days. That's 114 times kicking in that door, grabbing a high-value target, over and over and over and over again. And I said, how do you deal with that? Because every single time you kick in that door, there could be a guy right there just waiting to take your head off. And he thought for a moment, and he said, victory comes through surrender. I said, what do you mean? He said, if I didn't sit down before I even started, every time before we go out on a mission, if I didn't sit down and make it okay in my mind that this could be the last time, make it okay with me, be, ready to go, then I would hesitate. I wouldn't be able to do my job, and then I would end up getting killed. He said, victory comes through surrender. See, these are the kinds of things that I've learned from these warriors, and that I want to talk to you about tonight. What I found is that just about everything, every little nugget like that I get from those guys has some kind of biblical basis. When you go, God thought of that first. And I want to talk to you about a couple of those things. Paul, when he wrote to Timothy, 2 Timothy, and if you want to look this up, it's 2 Timothy 4:7. He's writing, to his protege, and it could be his last letter, and so he's kind of pouring out his heart to this guy. Here's what I really want to leave you with, right? And at the end of it, he says, you know what? I have fought a good fight. What does it say? You read it? I've finished the race, and I've kept the faith. Don't you want to be able to say that day, not too many years from now, when your life is over? Don't you want to be able to look back and say, I've fought the good fight. I've finished the race. I've kept the faith. That's what I want to say. I want to be able to say that. With Paul, well, what is your fight? What is your fight? We've all have a battle. What's your fight right now? It changes throughout your life. When I was a young man, it was girls and money. That was my fight. Today, as an older man, it's pretty much girls and money, I suppose. What's your fight? And how do you want to be remembered at the end of your life for having defeated that enemy? I make my sons, I like to give my sons little sayings that kind of reinforce what I'm trying to teach them about manhood. How many of you, the pastor said you guys went through Making Men and talked about the 5 steps of manhood. Any of you guys remember any of that? Nobody? Gosh, maybe I should back up and do that. I'll go through it really fast. Making Men is a book that I came up with because I've got 3 boys, and I woke up one day and said, holy cow, I'm supposed to make men out of these guys, and I'm not sure I've got that figured out for myself yet. And so I better become an expert on that subject so that I can do a good job training my own sons. And that kind of led to a 3-year quest to become an expert on the subject of manhood by interviewing mature men who kind of had things figured out, by going through the Bible several different times and looking at examples of men that did it right and did it wrong. Sometimes that's the same men. And looking at the ancient manhood rituals of just about every culture that ever existed. I mean, every culture you look at throughout history has had a manhood ritual except ours. We don't have one. And so boys look around and they're desperate they're desperate for a manhood ritual. They're desperate for something so that they can cross the threshold and go, okay, now I'm a man, and everybody knows it. Right? And for some guys, that takes the form of putting a tattoo in the middle of your face. For some guys, that takes the form of driving your crotch rocket 900 miles an hour down the freeway. I saw a guy yesterday driving through Granbury, Texas. It had a 7-foot-tall pickup truck with these big plastic testicles hanging off the back of the trailer hitch, and I thought, he paid money for those. What's he trying to say there? I don't get it. Your truck is a boy. What? He's trying to answer that question. I mean, I really believe that a lot of those behaviors, a lot of those manifestations are men desperately trying to prove I've got what it takes. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a big pickup truck or a tattoo or plastic testicles that fit, whatever flips your pancake, man. But what I am saying is that we use those things to try to answer that question. I used the military. I got picked on a lot when I graduated high school. Get this, I was 125 pounds. Okay, I had to jump around in the shower to even get wet, and so I got picked on a lot. I needed to join the military and get that Ranger tab on my shoulder so that I could say, you see that? See, that proves it. I've got what it takes. I'm a man. You can't deny it because I got one of those. Duty, honor, country. Well, okay. Whatever. I needed to prove that I was a man. So they're not all necessarily, stupid things, but we do. I mean, how many of you done really stupid things as young men, trying to, jump off the roof, hey, watch this kind of thing, right? Trying to answer that question. So I could come up with a way to answer that question for my boys, because we homeschool, and so, I love teachers and everything, but send them off public school, they're going to get a picture of manhood, right? Shave your head, paint it blue, or, heaven forbid, wear a dress or something. I mean, they're going to get an idea of what a guy is supposed to do. I wanted to give them a healthy idea of what a guy is supposed to look like if he wants to be a man. And so I put together this 5-step process based on my research and came up with this. And I'll go, if you want to write it down, I'll go through really quick. If you haven't heard this before, this is departing from my script, but I want to get back to that, talk about the warriors, but you need to have this foundation. Step 1, it's an acronym SHAPE, right? So just write SHAPE down the corner of your paper if you're taking notes. I'm not a note taker, so I won't judge if you don't take it, but SHAPE. Step 1, submit. You cannot even begin to become a man until you submit to the one who gives the authority of manhood. I've got a pond on my property, and if you want to fish in that pond, you got to ask the guy who owns the property. It doesn't do any good to go ask my neighbor if you can fish there. It's not his pond. So you've got to submit to the one who gives the authority of manhood. That's your creator. And I tell my boys, if you meet somebody and you think he's really cool and you want to be like him, if he has not submitted himself to Jesus Christ, do not emulate that man. Amen. Because he hasn't even started down the road to manhood yet. Step 2, you got to know what honor means. Everybody knows honor is a good thing. We all want to be honorable. But if you ask 100 men, you get 100 little bit different answers about what honor actually is. So I went and looked it up. Honor simply has to do with value. Honor means to value things rightly, to give things their proper place, to treat things that are important as if they were important, and to treat things that are worthless as if they were worthless. So many times we flip those around, and we treat the worthless things in life like they're really important, and we treat the really important things in life like they're worthless. That's not being honorable. You want to be honorable, you got to put things in the right order. Step 3, a man the A stands for assess. A man is always assessing his environment, what's around him, and looking for ways to improve it. Assess and improve. He's looking around. He's going, how do I make this better? How do I fix this? How do I make this better? That's what Jesus did when he came here. He redeemed the world around him. That's what we do as men. And when a boy starts to become a man, you'll start to see him go from that mindset of, well, where's the fun in this? I want to have fun. Fun. I got to have fun. If I'm not having fun, boring. It's like the worst thing for a boy, right? It's boring. Boy, my boys have learned never, ever, ever, ever to say to me, this is boring. Because I'll give them something to do. I will give them something to do. And they'll wish they could go back to where they were doing before. But when a boy starts to become a man, he starts to look around and go, and it's not about whether or not it's fun or not. It's about getting the job done. It's about doing what needs to be done. Right? Assess and improve. Now that starts with the guy you shave. We look in the mirror and we say, we're constantly looking at our own lives, kind of doing this self-assessment and saying, where do I need to improve? Okay? We need to assess and improve. You guys say that? I tell you what, stand up for just a second, please. Thank you very much. And sit back. Okay. Just get the blood flowing a minute because I want you to remember this. A man assesses and improves his environment. In Ranger School, if something's really important, they kill him before they say it. I don't like that, so I'm just going to make a statement. Assess and improve. That's what, and I try to tell my boys all the time. How are you making things better right now? We need to be assessing our environment and improving it. The fourth step to manhood is probably the apogee of this whole process. When a boy becomes a man, he has to learn to perish to his own desires and provide for the needs of others. That's where he finds his ultimate fulfillment, because he's modeling Christ there. He's following Christ. He's emulating what Christ did, dying to what he wanted to provide for the needs of others. And so when a boy learns that it's not all about you, but I don't care what you want. As a matter of fact, I'd like to disappoint you. That's my job. I'm your dad. Right? I mean, look, if I could sum up my whole theory of good parenting, it just comes down to the constructive application of misery in your children's lives to produce character. Now think about it. Really, if you want to make your kids be good, turn your boys into good men, do you just give them everything they want all the time? Oh, no, you're not comfortable? Oh, well, here, let me fix that. Oh, here, are you okay? You feel good? You had fun? It's okay? It's all right? No. That's not what a father does if you want to make good men. If you want to turn your kids into pets, maybe. That's kind of what we do for the monkeys, but you don't do that for your boys. You give him little bits of hardship. You let him learn what it means to want and to earn and to work. Right? That's hardship. That's misery. It's a constructive application of misery in your children's lives to produce character. And anytime you find yourself catering to your kids, I'm sorry, you didn't like that for dinner? Okay, well, we'll make something else. Anytime you find yourself doing that, you might as well just slap your son. You are hurting your son. Do not cater to your children. You'll damage them. That's all there is to it. So when a boy learns, when he gets it through his head, it's not about you. Your mission in life is to spend yourself in the service of others. That's what men do. You want to be a man? That's what men do. You can join us or not. Perish and provide. The final step to manhood is engage. A man has to be engaged in every area of life. And to the extent that we're not engaged in any area of life, we are being passive. And passivity is poison to a man. But it's the default. It's what the culture tells you to be. The culture wants you to be passive. The culture, because if you're engaged, man, you're dangerous. You scare people. But that's what a man does. A man engages in every area of life. He crushes everything he puts his hands on. He engages spiritually with his family as the pastor. If you have not prayed with your children in the last 24 hours, do so tonight. If you feel that little twinge of embarrassment, like, well, I don't really do this very often, I've never really, like, actually laid hands on my son and prayed for him. Force yourself to do it. He will remember it for the rest of his life. When I was interviewing for my book Bulletproof, there's a few of them left out there. When I was interviewing a bunch of top-level special operations guys, Delta Force operators, one of the guys told me, just in passing, mentioned that probably 80% of the guys in Delta, that's the top tier of the special operations community, probably 80% of them are Christians. And I can believe it because I was in the Rangers, and I promise you, 80% of the Rangers weren't Christians. I promise. Probably not 8%, I don't know. But there's some, and I found out later that the guys who do the psych evals, the recruiting for Delta, they'll have 2 positions open, they'll have 2,000 people try out for it. So they can really, take the cream of the crop. But they actually recruit for Christians. Now, they didn't want me to publish that, but they say, we have found that a guy who has a strong faith foundation in his life will consistently make a better soldier than a guy who doesn't. And there's reasons for that, but I don't have time to get into it. We can talk about it later if you want. But the bottom line is, about 80% of the guys in Delta are believers. And I went and confirmed that by asking a whole bunch of them. And they said, yeah, as a matter of fact, usually before we go on a mission, we'll all gather up and pray. We'll say a prayer. And he said, and when we had one commander who was a strong believer, and he said the most powerful thing I've ever seen was one time we were going off on a mission at 2 o'clock in the morning. It was raining cats and dogs, and it was going to be a rough one. And we weren't sure we were going to come back. And he said, as the Black Hawk was lifting off the tarmac, I don't know, they were in Turkey, I think, or someplace. Pouring rain out there. It's pitch black. But I just caught a glimpse of our commander over there. And he was on his knees with his hands raised, praying for us as we flew away. Is that not a powerful picture? Oh, that my sons would remember when they go off to fight their battles in life. Oh, that they would remember their dad on his knees in prayer for them. Isn't that what you want for your kids? Don't neglect that. So we've got to be engaged spiritually, we've got to be engaged physically with our own bodies. This one vehicle we're given with which to serve God for all of our days. I'm not saying you got to look like Rock Adonis, like Pastor Steve there. You don't have to look like him, but just do your best. I think you ought to at least look like a giver rip. I don't know. But, he was a Coast Guard. Those guys are like, which way the gym? I don't have a job. I just work out. I'm envious because I didn't score high enough on the test to get into the Coast Guard, so I had to join the Army. I scored too high, they wouldn't let me in the Marine Corps, so just kidding. Marines they get upset now, Dad. I literally had to get up and leave. I'm just kidding. I like Marines. Don't hurt. We got to engage physically. We got to engage academically. Did you know that 80% of all books that are read in this country are read by women? It's no wonder women are outperforming men in every area of life these days. More women are graduating college than men now. Most men, on average, in this country, read 1 book a year. If you could just read 5 books a year, it wouldn't kill you. They make these things called audiobooks. I've got some of mine on. You can listen to it on your way to work, listen to it sitting in a tractor, listen to it, whenever you're working out or whatever. There's ways to get this done, guys. But you got to be engaged academically. You've got to be engaged financially. You know, it's so easy just to let mama take care of all that stuff, because obviously she's a lot more detail oriented than we are, right? I'm guilty of this as anybody. And I look at the checking account, there's $300 left, so I go buy tires. And then she already had plans for that, so she's scrambling around trying to figure out how to pay the light bill or whatever, right? And we've got to be engaged in that process. She'll appreciate you for it. We've got to be engaged socially. We've got to be engaged in our community. And that's what I want to get down to when it comes to being a warrior. So what is your fight? What is the thing that you're really struggling with right now? What is it? What is it? Is it anger? Is it, trying to make a decision? Is it passivity in some area of your life? Is it pornography? Is it cheating on your taxes? I don't know. But I will tell you this. Everybody knows who Sun Tzu is, right? Sun Tzu, The Art of War, ancient Chinese philosopher. He was the expert on warfare. He said victorious warriors win first and then go to war, while defeated warriors go to war first and then seek to win. You've got to win your battle up here first. And that comes through that process, like I explained. Submitting yourself to your Creator. Knowing what's important and treating it that way. Assessing it and improving. Perishing, provide, and engage. Now, how does a warrior differ from regular men? I am not one of those guys that just says, every man's a warrior. I think every man can learn from warriors. But there are men who are called other things. There are clerics. There are academics. There are husbandmen. There are lots of different things. But I think we can all learn something from warriors. What is it that sets warriors apart from other men? Well, I've learned, these are some things, the observations I've made hanging around with warriors for the last 15 years. And I want to share them with you. And amazingly, there are scriptures that just go along with each one of these things. Number one, a warrior is prepared. They don't just, like that quote I just read you said, they just don't show up in the battle and then figure out what they're going to do. They train, they prepare. Okay? So let's look at 1 Corinthians 9:27. Somebody probably knows that right off the top of their head, right? This is pretty common. Anybody know it? I buffet my body and make it my slave. Right? Does anybody want to read it? Anybody got it? Go ahead, stand up, please. Stand up.
But I discipline my body and keep it under control, lest after preaching to others, I myself
should be disqualified. I buffet my body and make it my slave, so that after preaching to others, I will not fall. Warriors look ahead. They plan ahead. They look down the road. They start thinking about, this is a trait of a warrior. A warrior has to think several steps ahead. You ever pull into a parking lot and you see a guy go get in his car and then you go, oh good, there's a spot. And so you pull up and put your blinker on and you wait and you wait and you wait and you, what is that guy doing? Is that, am I the only one? What's that guy doing in there? Well, he wasn't thinking that. This is my pet peeve because I spend so much time going through security airports, right? You stand in line for security at the airport for 30 minutes. Big long line, Chicago, Washington, D.C., New York, whatever. You get up to the front, right there at the front, and the guy in front of you goes, that's just striking. And then he takes like 5 minutes to get all the stuff out of his pockets, and then and then he goes through, I forgot my belt. You had 30 minutes! What did you think was going to happen at the end of that line? A warrior plans ahead. He thinks ahead. Let's look at 1 Peter 1:13. Anybody know that one off the top of your head? All right, somebody read it. 1 Peter 1:13. If you would please stand up so everybody can see you. Come on. I'm on. I know we're Dutch here, but we can, it's cool. I married a Norwegian. They're very much like the Dutch, you know. Yeah. Stand up. Thank you, sir.
Be holy. Therefore, with minds that are alert and fully sober, set your hope on the grace to be brought to you when Jesus Christ is revealed at his coming.
So, the way I memorize it, be self-controlled and alert. Prepare your minds for action. Set your hope fully on what? Why are we being self-controlled and alert? Why are we preparing our minds for action? Because we're setting our hope fully on the grace that will be given to us by when Christ Jesus comes. We're looking ahead, we're looking down the road, and we're saying, it's worth it to embrace hardship now. It's worth it to give up some of my comfort, to give up some of my money, to build the kingdom of God because of what we're going to get on the other end. This is self-serving, guys. Don't let people tell you that, no, you should never want anything for yourself. No, you just have to understand what will truly make you fulfilled in life. It's dying to your own desires to provide for the needs of others. Okay? A warrior sets himself apart. There's something different about a warrior. He thinks differently. He looks at the world differently. He sees himself differently. He's set apart. This is 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 20. 2 Timothy 2:20. Anybody else bring a Bible? Anybody got one? Come on. 2 Timothy 2:20. Come on, help me out here. You got it? That is a righteous beard you got over there. Yeah, go ahead. 2 Timothy 2:20.
And a wealthy house from the resources and the gold and silver, from red, wood, clay,
Good. Okay, so in a big house, there are many vessels. Some are for special use and some of them for everyday use. If you would be one of those vessels that's set aside for special use, you've got to do what? You've got to flee the desires of youth. You've got to set yourself apart. Be holy. Be set apart. That's what a warrior does. A warrior embraces hardship. Let's look at James 1:2. What time have we done? 8? Okay. Let's look at James 1:2, please. Am I moving around too much up there for you? Okay. Go ahead, man. You got it. Come on. Sound off. Use your outside voice. Come on.
Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet trials of various kinds.
Count it all joy, my brothers, when you meet various trials. When you meet trials of various kinds. Count it all joy. One of the things my boys are not allowed to do is complain. And, there's nothing worse than you haul your boys out there to split firewood or throw hay or whatever. We've got a farm in West Virginia, and I bought the farm because boys need physical labor. They need that. And if they don't burn off that testosterone with good, solid physical... How many of you grew up on a farm here? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, don't you? If they don't have some way to burn that off, if you're treating them like pets and they're sitting in the house playing their little video games, they are going to find a way to burn off that testosterone, and it's not going to be healthy. Right? So they need that work. But while we're out there working, there's nothing worse than hearing one of my kids going, "This stinks." Okay? Yes, we all know it stinks. It's work. Okay? But I don't need you to tell me that. So I've just taught my boys, look, if you really want to complain, this is the way you put it. You say, "I love how much this sucks." Okay? Now there's a joke. There's a joke here. There's a joke here. I was in the Rangers, right? So, if you take a regular infantry guy in the Army and you throw him in a mud puddle in a rainstorm and make him sit there and pull security, he's going to go, "Man, this sucks. This is terrible." If you take a special forces guy and throw him in that mud puddle rainstorm, he's going to say, I wish this sucked more. And the ranger's going to say, I love how much this sucks. I was out with a Coast Guard pilot, flying helicopters, flying around. Those guys just look down at you and go, man, that must really suck down there. So I just tell my boys, look, if you want to complain, you just say, I love how much this sucks. Learn to embrace the hardship. Learn to go looking for it. That's what life is all about. No one ever led a memorable life being safe and comfortable. Nobody. If you want to lead a memorable life, get out there and do something that sucks. Do something difficult. Embrace hardship. That's what warriors do. And they do it for a purpose, not for the hardship itself. They're not masochists. They do it because they know every day when they get up, their enemy is out there. And he's training to come kill you and your buddies. And you're going to meet one day on the field of battle. And if you're not better prepared than he is, he's going to win. You're going to lose. If you lose, your buddies lose. And you can't let that happen. You have a responsibility to each other here. Okay? You have a responsibility to the man on your left and your right. We need you. We had a men's group I was a part of years ago. There was a guy married 18 years. It was he was there every Sunday. He was there. He was there. Every Thursday night we had our men's meetings. He was there. 18 years he was married. One day his wife and kids came home from the grocery store and walked in on him with another man. Out of the blue. And we went to talk to him and plead with him. Brother, what are you thinking? What's going on here? And he said, I've been doing my duty for 18 years. It's my turn to be happy. This is who I am. I said, wait, hang on, what? Your turn to be happy? Wait, who told you that? Where is that written? You don't deserve to be happy. You deserve to do your duty before God. Amen. As a man. That's what you deserve. And guess what? That's where you're going to be happiest. Not too long later, a couple months later, we had another guy in the group that was, he was friends of mine. This first guy, after he bailed on his family and went off with some guy, his 3 teenagers and his wife had to come live in my house for a while. They were destitute. And so I'm supporting this other man's wife and his kids. Not long after that, another guy in our group came. We didn't know he had a drinking problem. He never shared that with us. We could have helped him with that. He came home drunk one night, and he was so drunk, he raped his 14-year-old daughter. Prison. Right? What the heck happened? Do you think that just affected him and his family? It affected all of us. When I got up in our next men's meeting, I said, the next one of you son of a guns that bails on your wife, I'm going to come pay you a visit, because this is getting expensive for the rest of us. See, we've got to pick up the slack. And we actually started this thing where, for our men's group, because we realized that, our men's ministry kind of looked like it was designed by women. It was like, let's get together on Thursday nights and share our feelings. And make each other feel bad for not spending enough time with our families while we take another night away from our families. I mean, it didn't make sense. So we said, cancel this. This is not working. We started calling each other on Friday nights and say, hey, tomorrow morning, grab your sons. That lady, her husband just bailed. We're going over to her house and we're going to take care of her and all the things that she needs done and her husband isn't there to do. And we'd show up at her house with all our boys, just in mass. And we would change the oil in her car, and we'd fix that leaky faucet, we'd split her firewood, we'd mow her lawn, we'd throw the football with her kids, and we would gather around her before we left And we would all lay hands on her and pray for her. And she would just sob. And I'd be under the car changing oil with some guy. And what that did is it like taught these guys how valuable you really are in your house. Sometimes you don't really feel like that. But it taught them how valuable they were, because I have guys look over me and go, man, don't ever let me bail on my wife. I mean, this lady's house is a wreck. Deferred maintenance everywhere. Don't ever let me do this to my wife. Come knock some sense into me if you have to. Tough love. We all need each other, guys. You have a responsibility to the rest of us. Amen?
Amen.
So, a warrior, he prepares for the future. He protects his tribe. This is the tribe. Okay? He runs to the sound of the guns. This is something very important in today's world. And if you made the mistake in the last day or so of turning on the news, you understand what I'm talking about. The world's falling apart. The world is literally going to hell in a handbasket. It really is. And Christians are under attack everywhere you turn. It used to be the kind of thing you heard about overseas. Oh, those Christians are being persecuted in Burma. Poor little brown people. Maybe we ought to send them a $25 donation. Okay? But today, it's right here at home. There's a woman in Oregon who lost her business, got a $130,000 fine because she wouldn't celebrate with a gay friend her wedding. There's a photographer in Arizona whose business closed. He got his business shut down because he refused to take pictures of a gay wedding. There's a baker in Colorado who has literally been ordered to go to re-education training to change his way of thinking so that he doesn't discriminate against these people anymore, because he refuses to bake a cake that celebrates two sodomites dancing on the way to hell. Brothers, Christians are under attack right here in our country. And as a warrior, I've got to run to the sound of the guns. What does that look like? That means I'm sending a check to those people. That means when I see something like that happening, I call them on the phone, I send them an email, I give them some encouragement, and I am not going to be the guy who goes quietly into the night and just tries to get along and just tries not to make any waves. I don't want to offend anybody, okay? You don't defeat the enemy by not offending him. Although the military is trying very hard to do that nowadays. Sorry. I almost got political there. I try not to do that. There is warfare going on all around you. There's warfare for the souls of men. And you know what? God promises in His Word that He puts you in the exact time and place where you are most likely to find Him. He also put you in the exact time and place and gave you the skills you need to accomplish the mission that He gave you. Let's look at, as we wrap up here, let's look at one example of that in the Bible. Go to Daniel, chapter 3, 16 through 18. Daniel chapter 3, 16 through 18. This is the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Everybody familiar with that story? Okay. Hopefully you're familiar with that story. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the three believers. The king, Nebuchadnezzar, says, he puts out a decree. When the music plays, no matter what you're doing, you drop what you're doing, you fall on your face. You bow your knee before, to worship the king. These three guys say, not so much. Sorry. We don't bow the knee to anybody but God. And he says, maybe he didn't understand. Let me just explain this to you. When the music plays, you take a knee and bow before me, or I throw you into the fiery furnace. See that fiery furnace over there? Does that look enticing? There's your choice. Now, we're going to play the music again, and we're going to see. They said, look, you don't have to play the music again. We already told you. We're not going to bow. That's not what we do. We only bow before the Most High God. And you know what? When you read that, can somebody read that? 16 to 18. Daniel 3, 16 to 18. Go ahead, stand up.
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied to the king, "O Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to save us from it, and he will rescue us from your hand, O king. But even if he does not, we want you to know, O king, that we will not serve their gods or worship the image of gold we have set up."
King, do your worst. We will not bow to you. And God, our God, can save us from that fiery furnace over there. But you know what? Even if He doesn't, we're just going to serve Him anyway. Think about that. Now, these guys had such a profound sense of mission. They had made it okay, just like my friend, before they went out into battle. They had made it okay. This is where I stand. And nothing is going to sway me. And you can take my life, and if God wants to save me, He will. And if He doesn't, He won't. It belongs to Him. It doesn't belong to me. Either way, I win, man. Right? Either way, I win. So do your worst. What was the result of that? I mean, obviously Nebuchadnezzar was pretty surprised when he threw him in there and nothing happened. Not even the scent of smoke in their clothes. And he was thinking, wait a minute, what did I just see? But their profound sense of mission, what was the thing that you don't notice in the way that they're responding to him? You don't notice any fear. There's no fear there. And that's what it does for a warrior. When a warrior believes in his mission and is totally committed to his mission, it drives out all fear. And he can just do what he's called to do, and if I lose my job, so be it. If I lose my pension, so be it. If you put me in jail, great. Give me some time to read for once. I love how much this sucks. You see that? This is making it okay before you kick in the door. But we need to be kicking in the doors, don't we? We need to be kicking in the doors. Look, that little is all you have left, whatever it is. Think of that number again. When you get home, look yourself in the mirror and you say, what am I going to do with this few minutes I have left? I want to ask you one question. I'd like you to do one thing for me. We talk about passivity. Every man has it. I mean, it's kind of our default setting, you know, it's kind of the way we'd really like to go. And like I say, the culture kind of puts it on us from outside too. So, you know, we get it from both directions, inside and outside. It's something we got to be constantly. It's like, how many of you grow a garden? Let me grow a garden. I wish I could grow a garden. I've tried and tried to grow a garden. I mean, I'll go out there in the springtime and I'll have the best intentions. I'll plow that ground up. It looks so nice. I mean, just perfect. Get the rows all just perfectly straight. I'll go out there and I'll plant my little seeds. I'll even put the little signs up so I know what's what, you know, and get it all the little strings along there so it's nice and straight. Everything gets just perfect. And then I leave for the summer. You know, and I go away and I get busy and I come back at the end of the summer and it's all this high. I found a way to redeem that though. I take the brush hog out and I go over it a few times and really mulch it up good. And then I go get a thing of little sandwich baggies. I take that mulched up stuff, I stick it in there and I zip it up and I write good weed on there. And I take it downtown and I sell it to people out the window of my car. And I make enough money to go to the store and buy some vegetables, and then I put those in the can and lift them up. So, like I said, well, you got to do what works, I'm kidding. I'm not selling weed to people. But please, don't put that on YouTube. Although, in a lot of places, that's okay now. The big market for that. No, our mind is like that. Passivity is like that. It's just weeds that just grow up in your garden all the time. And you can't go through that garden and rip out all the weeds and then go, all right, done, and leave for the rest of the summer, can you? Because more weeds are going to come up. It's a constant process. I got to be going through there and I got to be ripping those things. Now, if I just clip them off, that's not going to help a whole lot, is it? They come right back. You got to rip them out by the roots. See, as men, we've got to be all about finding the passivity in our own lives, hunting it down and murdering it. Not pussyfooting around with it. Hunting it down and ripping it out by the roots and throwing it into the fire. The Bible talks about that verse. If your hand offends you, cut it off. If your eye offends you, pluck it out. Throw it away. It's better to go to heaven without a hand or an eye than to go to hell in one piece. That's in a sense what it says, right? What does that mean, by the way? Because if we're supposed to start locking off body parts, Pastor, I'm in trouble. It ain't gonna be a hand or an eye, I promise you that. Okay? What does that mean? That means we've got to be willing to take drastic action to fix the problems in our life. It's up to you. Okay? Through the power of the Holy Spirit, there's no possible way I can take care of those issues on my own. But the first step to unlocking that power of the Holy Spirit is to decide. This is where I make my stand. And I'm going to make this happen. So I want you to think about your life tonight. Just you. Don't think about the guy next to you. Just you. What is that point of passivity that you're struggling with? What is it? I want you to make a decision. Just that one. I mean, if you're like me, there's probably a multitude of areas where I can get better, but this is not, I just want you to pick that one point of passivity that's really getting you. And I want you to make a decision tonight. I'm going to do whatever it takes to rip that thing out by the roots and throw it in the fire. Whatever it takes. That's what a man does. That's what a warrior has to be. I'm going to rip that thing out by the roots and I'm going to throw it in the fire. I can think of several things right now in my life that just happened. I need to go through my garden and start ripping out weeds. So I'm going to join you in that. Will you join me? If you're willing to, if you can identify that point of passivity in your life, you're willing to make that decision through the power of the Holy Spirit. I'm going to do something about it. And you want to say, Holy Spirit, need some help here, a little help. Come on. Just raise your hand. I'm with you guys. I'm with you. Let's pray. Father God, it's really astounding when we take time to think about it. That we can come directly to you, the Lord of the universe, the sovereign God. And we can bring our treaties to you. We can bring our desires to you. But Lord, our desire is to be used by you to serve your kingdom better, to be more generous, to be more loving to our families. to be more engaged in every area of life, to lead our families. Lord, I just really believe there's somebody here tonight that is so convicted because they have never prayed with their family. They have never gathered their family around and said, I am going to pray for you. And so, Lord, I pray tonight that we would all be convicted to do that more. That we would have the courage to stand up and make our stand against the world and to say, turn that off, close that computer, put that away. Let's start treating the things that are worthless like they're truly worthless and throwing them out. Let's start treating the things that are valuable like they're truly valuable. We know that one of the most valuable things that you have given each one of us is whatever little bit of time we have left. So don't let us waste it, Lord. We don't want to waste it. We submit ourselves to you, and we beg for your Holy Spirit to come and help us because, truth be told, we're just way too weak to make this happen. And we need your help. But we trust you, Lord, and we trust that you will send your Holy Spirit because you promised to do it, and you always keep your promises. You'll give us the strength and the power to make the changes that we need in our lives. Whatever that one point of passivity is, convict us, Lord. Don't let us sleep until we do something to take care of that, to get it out of our lives, whatever it might be. If we need to take a sledgehammer to our cell phone, or if we need to go and talk to that person that we've held a grudge against for many, many years, or if we need to fess up to our boss because we've been cheating. Give us the strength to be men, to fight that battle with ourselves and to defeat our own enemy, that enemy inside, so that we can go on and take dominion over the rest of the earth. That world around us, make it better. Help us to redeem the world around us like you redeemed us. We pray these things in the name of your Son, Jesus, whose example we follow. Amen.